everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. I'm your co-host, Alexia Souza. I'm the guinea pig of the situation here, which you already know a little bit, or if it's your first time listening to us, welcome. And I'm here with...
Foster. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
How doing?
How you doing?
How are you doing?
Yeah, you still need the you.
How are you doing?
Are you trying to be like Joey?
Yeah.
He says, how you doing?
How are you doing?
How you doing? I'm great, thanks. And you know why I am great today, Alexia?
Because we're talking nerd again.
Yes, I am a nerd. I am proud of it. And I think a lot of our listeners are nerds, and they will be really, really happy to have this nerdy conversation.
Yeah.
So yesterday on the show, we talked about language podcast. So a language podcast about language podcast. And more specifically, we talked about the podcast Lexicon Valley, which is hosted by John McWhorter. If you're interested in language or you just like this show, you should probably check out the show from yesterday. And today I wanted to talk about 4 other language podcasts that I think Alexia and everyone listening should listen to.
4,
but much faster this time, I promise.
Okay, so go ahead. First one.
Okay, first one. Alexia, can I get a drum roll, please?
No, because it's your episode, so you're gonna have to do the drum roll.
Alexia, we are a team together. Can I get a drum roll, please?
Trrr.
The first language podcast that you should listen to is The Illusionist with Helen Zaltzman.
Okay, so what's the difference between illusionist and illusionist?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Really?
No, they're totally different, but I don't know how to answer that correctly right now.
Okay, we leave it
Listen to the show. You got me on that one.
Okay.
Do you know how to say that in English when someone asks you a question that you have no idea what the answer is?
I would say no idea.
You can say, you stumped me.
You stumped me.
Yeah.
Okay. I stumped you.
Nice. Anyway, The Illusionist is by Helen Zaltzman, who I believe she is British. She might be from New Zealand. She's not from America. Not
Okay,
off to a great start.
We are between she being British, Australian, or Kiwi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she's British. Sorry, Helen. So I'm trying to convince other people to learn more about languages. And Alexia is giving me a thumbs up saying I'm not doing very well so far. But let me try to convince you, Alexia. So what is your favorite podcast besides Inglês no Rádio and besides Beautiful Anonymous?
That's not fair.
What's another podcast that you listen to that you like?
I love Vocês.
Okay, Vocês. Histórias e reflexões.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine one of the reasons you love Vocês is because it is incredibly well produced. It's funny, it's dramatic, it has perfect music. It's just really, really well done.
Yes, it is.
That's why you should listen to The Illusionist. It doesn't matter what they are talking about. She is charming. She makes a lot of jokes. There's always like the best background music. It sounds like it's recorded in the most professional studio, even though it's not, because I know she records it on the road because she is awesome. It's a great show to listen to.
But what's that about?
It is just a show about language, but not in the traditional way. Not about learning language. It's more about how to understand the world through language.
Okay. The cultural background.
It's just every show, it's using language as a base, but then every show is about something completely different.
Interesting.
So, for example, the most recent shows, she's recently had a series about food and language, how it goes together, how food changes language, how language changes food. It's super interesting. I highly recommend it. And another episode that I would really recommend, it's called Verisimilitude, which just means truthfulness, but it is all about HBO's Game of Thrones, and it has the guy who invented the language for Game of Thrones, and it talks all about how you can invent a new language and how complicated that can be, but how fun it can be at the same time.
That's interesting. I'm looking at the word verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude.
And it looks a lot like verossímil in Portuguese.
Which means something that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So do you think you'd be interested in listening to the show?
Yes, just because now it's a mystery for me because you're saying that she's charming and very well produced. Yeah, I want to check this out.
Oh, and it's just a fascinating story because she produces this while she's traveling the world. She doesn't really talk about this, but I've listened to other podcasts with her. And she does all of the shows. She has world-class people on the show, but she does it all on the road, and her husband does all of the production. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So it's almost like us.
It's almost like us. They're a level up, but they're pretty cool.
Okay.
So number 1, The Illusionist. Number 2, can I get a drum roll, please? Number 2, a show that I would recommend is Language Mastery with John Fotheringham, I think. I don't know how to say John's last name.
There is a TH and
Fotheringham.
JH and a M. Fotheringham.
I'm not sure. He's American. He's from Seattle. So
this is a British last name.
I don't know. I'm sorry, John. I didn't really look up his name before I wanted to give him a shout out. But this really is a show about how to learn languages. So if you're interested in this show, there will be some things of interest for you. It is primarily an interview show with people that teach languages, with people that have learned a lot of languages, with polyglots. And I really like it because the host just seems like a nice guy. He specializes in Japanese, so he has a lot of cool insights that I never thought about. And as an interview show, I think it's really good for our listeners because it's very simple. It's just 2 people talking.
Cool. Just like us. Again.
Yeah, kind of. And an episode I'd recommend is with my friend Lydia Makova, who is Lydia from my business group.
Ah, that's awesome.
She speaks, I think, at least 8 or 9 languages. She has a wonderful TED Talk. And Lydia is just a really cool, nice person. So I thought it would be interesting for our listeners to listen to her.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Cool.
And very nice of you.
Absolutely. So number 3, can I get a drum roll, please? Number 3, we don't have to talk much about this one, but I Will Teach You a Language with Ollie Richards. It's just a good place to start. Super short episodes. And I would recommend The Rules of Language Learning, which we've already talked about on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. The Actual Fluency Podcast.
By Chris
Braham. I really don't know how to pronounce this because he is Scottish. So it will give you a lot of exposure to different languages. Again, this is very similar to Language Mastery. That is just a podcast about how to learn languages. Okay. Normally talking with experts in an interview format.
And with a Scottish accent will be nice for you to practice the Scottish accent.
The Scottish accent, yeah.
You're horrible at that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. He seems like a super nice guy. And an episode that I would recommend is with a guy named Lucas Baghetti, he's Brazilian. He's from São Paulo. I think he claims to speak 12 or 13 languages. I
remember that guy. You've been talking about him for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I talked to him a long time ago. He was giving classes on italki.
I remember.
And I was just on italki for some reason. And I was like, hey, that's the guy that speaks all the languages. And he is a super cool, nice guy. He's from São Paulo. He loved my Portuguese, and I was very happy about that. And he's actually good friends with your old French teacher, Sebastian.
Yes. I miss Sebastian.
Yeah. So just good dudes all the way around.
Yes.
Yeah. And our last recommendation for today, Alexia, one more drum roll.
Trrr.
The Fluent Show. So this is by a lady named Kirsten Cable. And I want to say she is originally Dutch or German, but she speaks English super, super fluently. She has a lot of different guests on the show.
I like the name already.
Yeah, The Fluent Show.
No. The name of the episode.
Oh, yeah. So this is more of a show about kind of not just how to learn languages, but it's like really cool tips and things that you normally don't think about. They have a very interesting approach to languages. So the episode that I recommend is How to Learn a Language That You Hated in School.
Yeah, that's very good.
Everyone wants to know about that. I'm a little bit mad that we did not think about that first.
Yeah. Okay, Amor, those are very cool tips.
So just a quick review, Alexia. We have The Illusionist, Language Mastery, I Will Teach You a Language, the Actual Fluency Podcast, and The Fluent Show.
But don't worry, guys, because I'm going to leave at the show notes.
We will leave it in the show notes.
And
are we going to listen to any of these together?
Maybe. We already have a lot to listen to.
If I can't convince you, how can I convince our listeners?
I'm kidding. Yes, and let's start with How to Learn a Language You Hated in School, because I loved the title.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, you language nerds, tomorrow or whenever, next time we are on the show, we will be back with not nerdy stuff, but our normal programming.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.